Hi everybody, this is Bev with Bev Hill Arts and Crafts, and today I'm going to create a little video here using one collection kit to make 3 double page layouts. This is the first pattern I'm working with, and I'll create more down the road, but I thought I would share it with you today. You'll get the dimensions as we talk through it, but I don't have this one designed. I've done it before. I've used the Echo Park Sun-Kissed collection, and I used the Echo Park Be Happy. What I have here is Simple Stories. This came out about 2 months ago. It's called Flea Market. Any paper will work, but it is designed using either the 4x4 cut aparts, some of the 3x4 cut aparts, so it's completely up to you. A pattern's a pattern. So let's get to it. We'll use a collection kit, and then you can either use this white paper as like a spot to hold where your photos will go, or you can use it as a white mat before you cut your photos down and add it to that. So I have, let's see, hopefully I've got 10 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'll know at the end of this how many sheets it actually will take for the photo mats. And then you'll need to supplement with 6 pieces of 12 by 12 paper that will be our base. I had this kind of a peachy color, which really goes nicely. You can see it right here with this peach. So hopefully that is carried out throughout the collection. I've used white, I've used black, but you'll just need 6 pieces of 12 by 12 that you feel you like with whatever collection you're going to work with. Oh, and I forgot to find myself on my laptop so I can make sure I stay my hands in the camera. Give me 1 second here, and I'll just find myself. There I am. Looks like I've stayed on camera okay so far. Let's see if I can enlarge that. There we go. Pardon my dirty table. I should clean that off one of these days. Okay, so I'm going to set these to the side because we won't use those until the end of our layouts. And we don't need this now. And we won't need the sticker sheet for a while. So I'm going to set that all aside. So the other thing I like to do when I'm working with the 2-page layout is find some washi tape. And on the back side, I've just taped both of my pages together so that they'll line up a little nicer. And I think I'm going to have to make this camera further away so you can see me work on 24 inches of papers. So let me get in camera here, and then I'll just keep pulling my trimmer over top of it. So let's see. I get the trimmer out of the way. Yep, camera's going to have to come up a little bit. I like to have as close of a view as possible for watching a learning video, but just bear with me here. I want to make sure it's all in the camera too. So, okay, that was my arm. Sorry about that. Okay, so now if I move it over, and it looks like I've got a little weird angle going. Just going to get us all lined up before we get busy cutting away. Oh, that's much better. Let's go back just a little bit. All right, and I'm going to pull it down back a little bit. Is that what I need? No, I need it closer to me. Yeah, closer to me. And then we should have everything. Okay, look at that. We're lined up. All right, so I think this will work. So I'm going to have to bring in and out my trimmer. So you're going to see me cut. And the first thing we're going to do, and again, I'm designing on the fly here. So let's see what we like. I'm going to start with this little plaid piece, which, oh, I hate to lose that beautiful flower, but I think we need something to anchor this. So this piece is going to use the entire piece. And the first thing we're going to do is cut it down. It's 11 tall. So I'm going to turn it in, and instead of wasting time cutting my UPC away, I'm just going to cut it to 11. And then I'm going to turn it. And my first cut, I want to be 5 inches wide. So I'm just going to make that a 5. And then I'll need another one that is 2. And then another one is going to be 3. And that we've got 5. So that'll leave us the last piece at 2. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and make my next cut so you can see how it all lays out. So I need another piece of paper, and we're going to use the whole sheet. I kind of like that guy in the middle, so I think that's what I'll use. So again, remember, we're going to cut this first all away at 11. So I'm not going to cut away my UPC. I'm just going to cut the whole thing out at 11. And then this only needs to be 9 3/4 wide. So I'm going to cut it now to 9 3/4. Just making sure I'm nice and straight there. And it's going to go over the split of the paper. So the left side of that paper is going to be at 4. All right, and I'm going to move the trimmer and show you how these go on first. So these will be centered up, going right along that seam. There you go. And then on one of our 2-inch pieces, I'm going to put right along there. And I may flip-flop these. I think I am. So I think I'm going to like the green here because we need a little contrast. And then I'll put the big flower here at this end. Again, I'm just designing on the fly. So if that's green again, I'm going to be consistent. This is the 3-inch wide piece. And then this will be our 2-inch piece with the flowers. So those are the first sets that are going to go on this page. So I think I'll do all the cutting, and I'll carefully set it aside, and I'll glue on my time. And I will tell you that I used to use the ATG gun, and I do use it still for a lot of things. But for something like this, I'm going to use glue because it allows me a little bit of time to slide it into place. It's a little bit more forgiving. So that's our first set. Now, we're going to need one more piece, and it's going to be a focal point for our photo mats. So let me see on camera here what I like. I want it to be a little quiet because we've got a lot going on already on these prints. Oh, that's so pretty, but I love flowers. I think it's this guy. I think it's this guy right here. Yep, that'll look good. So I'm going to cut, I'm gonna get my trimmer back into the camera, and I'm going to cut 2 mats. And this is not concerning that we have to pay attention to directions the way we cut it, so I can just cut it 4 by 6, and we'll use both of these photo mats, and I'll show you how they go. And then we want one more piece that is going to be 5.5 tall, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this to 5.5. And then it's going to be 10 wide. So these are just my scraps. So I can carefully pick that up and not undo how I've laid this down. What I did, yeah, that moved just a little bit, is I put this right along the edge of that seam and up just a tad, like that. And then I'm going to use one of the 4x6 cards to decorate this. Right over like that. And then this one will go right beside that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the photo mat so you get a feel of how the rest of this will lay out. All right, so trimmer back in the camera. We're going to need 2 pieces that are 3.5 by 3.5. So let's start here. We've got 3.5. Got stuck on the cutting tool. Whoops. Okay, and then we're going to need 3 of them that are 3 by 3. So I should be able to get that out of this piece. 3 by 3. 3 by 3. And 3 by 3. All right, we're going to need 2 pieces that are 3 by 4. Let's see if that is 4 tall, if we could use that. It is. So I've got 1 scrap here. Cut a nice clean 4 by 3. Something's sticking up there. I'm going to clean my trimmer. And then I need one more of those. I'm getting out another sheet of paper. I'm going to cut this to 3 by 4. And then one last photo mat, and this one is 5.5 by 3.5. So 3.5 here by 5.5. So I'll show you how I laid them out. And I did this just as a visual for how you can get as many pictures on as you'd like. So I'm going to use a 4 by 6 cut apart for the decoration here, and then my photo will go here. And then along this guy, I've got one kind of cattywampus and one straight. And then up along the top here, I've got my 3 little 3 by 3s, and I started straight and I went right to the edge there. And then I went a little cattywampus here, and I went straight here. And then for my 3 by 4s, I put a 3 by 4 here. Boy, that grid's kind of nice, isn't it? We need that on all our papers. Kind of like that wrapping paper back, right? And a 3 by 4 here. And then I'm going to add a 3 by 4 cut apart here for more decoration. So that's how this one will finish up. And that's the first layout of our triple layout section. So bear with me now, because I'm going to carefully set this aside and cut the next one. See if I can set it where it doesn't all spill. All right, so now we need to get another set of our bases, which again, I'm going to use the same peachy color for all 3 of mine. There we go. And I'm going to look up and just make sure I'm staying in the camera. Perfect. Okay, I look good. So for this next one, we're going to use, I'm going to pay attention now because I have less and less left here to work with. I'm just going to think about it. So I like these cameras. And I've got a center one. And then I've also got more of just a solid foundation backing it up. So I think what I'm going to use, I'm going to try 2 different ones on for size. We'll call it an audition. I'm going to save my 4 by 4 cards. Another one that would be kind of hard to use anywhere else could be here. Let me see what that does. Nope, that'll get lost. Okay, I'm sticking with this guy. And then, how do you feel about that? Or, I think this is pretty wild, especially against the peach. Not terrible. What are my back? I'm definitely not going to use the back. I'm not going to use those alphabet cut aparts. So certainly want to use that as one of my full sheets. Just telling you in my brain what I'm thinking. Or I've got the last one that's pretty usable would be this guy. I like those 2. I don't like flowers, and I'm coming up with my last pages here are flowers or the cut aparts. Certainly not going to use the mountain scene on this, although it's very pretty. So this can be a center as well. Or one of the big pieces that we have to work with, but I'll save that for my next one. So I'm going to, I like this and this together. I think that's pretty rich. I think that gets a little lost. So I like the contrast of those 2. So I'm going to save those for my next layout. Okay, so those will be my next guy. I really am not into the island with the sailboats. It's cute, but it doesn't seem to match the theme to me. So I'm going to skip that one, which means I've got this large piece, or I can use this grid for a smaller piece if I can't get that scenery into it. Okay, so that's what I'm thinking there. I'm trying to save a few of my 4x4 cut aparts. I'm going to use those. Looks like one, I need 3 of them. I have 2, so I've got 3. 1, 2, 3. So I could use this centerpiece for something if I need to. So now we have to decide what's left here. Tags are really both sides, so that is not able to be used on my layout. So I've got this guy, and then our cut aparts. So I do like that, and I'm a flower girl, so I may skip the cameras this time. Let's see what my back side is. Ooh, that's pink, 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 but it all goes together. So I may, sorry, I'm so indecisive. I like that better. I'm gonna do those 2. All right, so I've settled on what I'm gonna do there. We still got more paper to add to it as well. So with this one, it's gonna be our center focal point. Let me get my trimmer back into the camera. So instead of cutting it at 11, this time we're gonna cut it at 11 and a half. So it's gonna be just a little longer. And then we're using the whole piece of 12 by 12. And we want 9 inches on the left side. So I'm going to cut it to 9 right here. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we go. And then we're going to cut. So that's going to go in the middle. And then these are our supporting pieces. Again, we're going to cut it to 11 and a half. There we go. And then we're going to cut one strip that is 2 inches. And this isn't, yeah, okay. I was looking to see if I needed that other side, and I don't. So 2 inches on this one. I have Scotch tape paper back to there if I missed something. All right, and then we need the last one that is 8 inches. Set this aside as scraps. So let me show you how that lays out, and then we'll add a couple more papers on top of it. Okay, so this is going to go to this side. This little piece goes here. This piece goes here. And this piece goes here. And I don't have a nice stripe to join these together like I did before with my other paper. So I'm going to see if I can use this grid, this leftover grid here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this now to the 11 and a half length. Oh, I just cut it to 11. Remember I just told you that I would Scotch tape things together? Well, I'm going to do that here. So give me just a second. Let me find my Scotch tape. There it is. It'll be like it never even happened. So I cut it at 11 and I needed to cut it at 11 and a half. So let's try that again. All right, so I'm gonna bring it back into our camera. Cut it at 11 and a half. Okay. And now that I've got that cut, I'm going to support this side and peel off my Scotch tape on the other side. And if you've got fingernail polish, be careful you don't leave polish behind. That's no good either. All right, I'm just gonna make sure my whole back side is taped. So I'm going to cut these into even smaller pieces. Okay. So we need, I am going to take my UPC off now because I'm going to cut it nice and even to 2.5. Because it's easier for me to slide it over to make smaller cuts. So I need 2 pieces that are just 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to do one here at 2, cutting away 1/2 inch, and another one at 1.5. back to my scraps. So instead of a stripe, I'm using a grid to join these together. So I'm going to put one here in between and one here in between. Okay, just like that. Get that scrap off of there. And now I'm going to add 2 more sheets of paper. So let me see what we've got for pretties. Kind of like that guy. So we're going to put one here. And I feel like I have less to work with in this collection because of this weird beachy theme. I guess it's not weird. I shouldn't talk bad about it. And actually, it adds a nice contrast, and we're going to put pictures on top of it. So I'm actually going to use this silly guy. All right, so let's do it. I'm having a little hot flash. It's another great use for 12 by 12 paper. Whew. So I'm going to cut this one first, the pink one first. And this one is going to be 8 tall. What do I like better? I'm going to take my UPC off. And I think instead of starting, this is numbered, so I'm going to start it with the numbers in order. So I'm going to start my 8 from here. So when I lay it down on my page, I've got numbers starting 1, 2, 22 actually. All right, and then we're going to use the full piece of 12 by 12. All right, and I'm going to glue the next one together and then cut apart, so I'll show you that. So for this one, instead of 8, it's going to be 6. And the same 12 by 12. So what we want to do, and I'm just going to glue these, and that's so cute. Maybe we'll do that. Look at that. I just accidentally saved that cute little spot. Let's take it for an audition to this layout. Do you ever do that? I flip things over to put my tape on it, and I like the back side better, so then I have to decide which one I'm going to use. So I kind of like this. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to cut this then 4 inches, leaving 4 inches overhang here. So that's pretty cute, but let's flip it and see if we like the green better, because we're going to put pictures on top of it too. I think that's kind of busy. So I am going to stick with the flip. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these together, and then we'll trim it at the 4. I'm just going to put some glue on the back here. And then when I cut it at my 4 inches, I don't want a big gap on my paper, so I'm kind of getting glue into the middle. And I'm going to lay it evenly across, and isn't that so nice? I've got a grid to work with. I have a shot at putting things on straight. Okay, and now we need to cut it at 4 right here. So, get my trimmer back in the camera. I'm gonna cut that at 4. That. So when I glue this all together, this is going to go about 1 inch from the bottom, and this will go on top of that. And that's how this layout goes together. And then I'm going to cut the photo mat so you can see kind of my placeholders for that. So we're going to need 2 of them that are 4 by 4. So I think I can get that out of this scrap piece. 4 by 4. Make a pile here. By 4. And I need 2 of them that are 3 by 4. So I'm just going to see if this happens to be 3 wide, and it is. So 3 by 4. I need another one. That looks too short. Oh, all right, so let's get another sheet of my paper out. If I can find where it's buried now. There it is. All right, and then we're going to need 3 of them that are 4 by 6. That's 5.5, so that won't work. Four by 6. We're going to need one more sheet of paper. And we'll cut 2 pieces that are 4 by 6. I'm going to go ahead and cut the 6 this way. And then 2 pieces that are by 4. And I'll show you where we're going to lay those photo mats. And you'll have pictures of these finished ones to kind of follow along with too, hopefully. Okay, I'll move the trimmer back out of the way. And here's how I laid these out. So I laid this right along the seam. So it's going to cover up some of this pretty, just like that. And I'm going to go up higher. Overlapping both layers there. There we go. And then I need to find my 3 by 4s. I did one here. One here. You guys get back to straight. So then I did a 4 by 6 here. So this goes, whoops, I'm off a little bit. There, there, up to the seam, up to the seam. And then my 4 by 6 is going to go all the way over here. With my 4 by 4 here, and my 4 by 4 here. And then up in this corner, I'm going to put one of the 4 by 4 pieces of art. Over here, I'm going to decorate with a 3 by 4 card or something of that sort, and another little piece down here. So that's how that will finish up. So about 7 photos, I think. And you can skip the decoration and add more pictures. Completely up to you. I'm going to set that one out of our way. And we're going to cut our 3rd layout. Okay, I'm getting kind of a scrappy mess going. Okay, and I'm not going to forget that I do have these little scraps if I need them, depending on how this finishes out with what papers we have. So let's see what we've got left. So I'll start with my base pages that I have tacked together with washi tape. Let's see if I make sure I stay in the camera as I set it down. My scraps aren't taken over. That looks pretty good. All right, so here's what we have left is our palette to work with. So I'm going to cut one piece and place it down the middle of this section. So I love flowers. I might stick with the floral theme. I want to save this if I can for my cards, cut aparts, tags we don't use. So I'm down to and that, and this or this. So I really only need 2 pieces that we like together. So those are my 3 by 4, so that settles that. So I'm going to use this piece and this piece as my main section. So this will be our last one. What I'm going to do is cut the floral one. I'm going to go ahead and trim the UPC away. And now this one is only going to be 11 inches wide. So I've turned it. This is the way we're going to see it on our paper, but I only want it to be 11 long. And let's see if my trimmer, yep, my trimmer's in the camera. So I'm going to cut it to 11 now. And now I can turn it, and we're going to cut it to 6. And then the other thing I do is make sure this is also 6, because we guessed at where that line is for the UPC. So sometimes it's a little longer. And this one was, so I've just trimmed off that extra. So now they both should be an exact 6 by 6. And then I want from my kind of a teal green, I'm going to trim off my UPC. because I need to get it 11 wide instead of 12 wide also. So I'm going to cut it to 11. Okay, and then this one, we're going to need 2 pieces that are 1 inch tall. So I'm going to move it to 11. Yeah, 11. Making sure I'm still straight. There we go. And another 1 inch piece. And then I need 2 more pieces, but they are both 2 inches instead of 1 inch wide tall. 2 and 2. I feel like I'm going a little crooked there. Better. Okay. So now I've got this pretty piece. We may use it. We'll see. But I'm going to lay this out so you can see how this particular pattern is lining up. So we're going to take the 1 inch pieces. We're going to lay them across the top here. About a ½ an inch from the top. And again, we can slide these in place before we glue them. And then we have our focal point or our middle pieces. And a lot of this is going to be covered up here and here. And then we have our 2 inch pieces that'll go down at the bottom. So again, I don't have a stripe in this paper. You could leave the gap and I think that looks pretty, or you can join it with another piece. Right? So let's see what we've got. We want this to go down here and down here. I think that would get lost. Let's see what I have left. I think that's really busy. We're not going to use the ABCs. Maybe we do this little white grid. It's kind of it's a light pink. I like this. I think we have plenty of it. So I'm going to take this into my camera. Here we go. And we're going to cut this to the same width that is 11. Look at it, I didn't have to tape together any papers. So, and then we want 2 pieces. I'm going to trim this to 6. Get my straps out of the way. 2 pieces that are 1/2. Instead of a stripe, I'm going to use a grid. And then we'll want 2 pieces that are, I don't think, 1 inch. There you go. So 1 and a 1. Okay. So let's lay those out. So the wider ones go to the bottom. Just like that. And then the thinner ones are going to go to the top. Just like that. I like it. I like how it all turned out. Now, we did add 1 more piece to this. This isn't quite as wide as my pattern. Because, let's see. Wide, it might be. So I'm going to use this because I think it goes well with it and I just don't have a lot of paper left. So this is the actual piece that we're going to use. I'm going to make sure that it is 11. Let me see. It'll be a little shorter than my other one, but no one's going to see. And then, so if you have a 12 by 12 piece, you can use the full 12 inch width. I am committed to 11, so I'm using my 11. And it is 6 inches tall. So we're going to leave it just like that. And then I'm going to cut 2 inches that I can overlap. Just like that. So what I'm going to do is lay this all the way down to the bottom. And lay this one right over here to my overlap. Okay, so now I'm going to cut my photo mats, and all you need are 4 photo mats that are 3.5 by 5.5. And I'll show you how we'll lay those across. So if I cut this to 3.5 and 3.5, I should be able to get all 4 of them out of one sheet of paper. And 5.5 and 5.5. So the way I laid these out, just along the middle, and then I'm going to put 4x4 cards at each end. So there's 1, 2, 3. So 3 go on this side, and then 1 goes on this side. And then we're going to decorate. Oh, I lied. We're going to do 2 and 2. So I'm going to decorate on this end and this end with 4x4 cards. So that's everything to make these 3 layouts, and I've used all of the collection kit. What I have left, I've got decorator pieces with my 3x4 cards. I've got some tags, which I didn't have before, so I might incorporate some tags. And then I've got my 4x4 cards, and then I still have my sticker sheet too. So when I come back on camera, I will show you how I glued these together as we've pictured here, and then what I did in what I have to work with to decorate the pages. And then the rest of the creativity is up to you with this pattern. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you back for a quick video of the finished products. Bye-bye.